Welcome to Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. We will go through this list today. Always something fascinating happening. First thing we're going to do is look at Bitcoin. This is a 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart. And man, it is a booming. When this latest move started, whether you jumped in early there in mid-September or so or later, after we had a slow start, perhaps maybe in mid-October, things have been moving up quite warmly. Boy, the high that we saw in October, 30,364, all the way to the high that we have had just this week of $44,086. Bitcoin has been in the green and just continuing to move up. And of course, here over the last couple of days, things have been moving up quite nicely also. Bitcoin just a booming. Looked like it was probably going to sort of peter out, phase out like it did these times before, but it did not. It caught wind, caught fire, and bumped on up. Now let's look at where Ethereum is. Ethereum been steadier. Tried to go green a little bit with some spinning tops. Those don't seem to work well. Then things roll back over. But then when it started putting in the solid green candles with the wicks on top, it has just continued to move up nicely. If we look there, the week beginning the 23rd of October, worst place to jump in would have been the high at 1865. And of course, so far this week, we see as high as 2310. So again, Ethereum looking nice also. One would expect that the Bitwise 10 crypto index fund would likewise be moving up nicely. It started back in mid-October. And again, the worst jump would have been at around $14 a share. And of course, we see this week up to a high of $25 a share. So things moving up quite nicely in the crypto space. Let's move from cryptos to commodities. Some lackluster stuff going on. You can see where copper tried moving up and then, of course, sort of dying on the vine down over an ounce today as it's just fizzling. Now, remember, copper used in a lot of stuff across the board industrial-wise. What's that telling you about what's going on around the world? When we look at the United States Gasoline Fund, of course, we saw things peak most recently beginning September the 11th. Since then, rolling down this week, another down week, forming down for the day alone, 1.53%. Take a look at soybeans. As, of course, we move into the winter time, a lot of things live off soybeans. Humans eat them, animals eat them. And as we see, soybeans had been trying to make some up gains over the last 2 weeks, though, accelerating down. We look at USO, which is the United States Oil Fund. What do we see there? Again, more down movement as we vie with the most recent down week back on beginning Monday the 13th of November this week. Again, pushing down. That is where we are on the commodities, the ones that we find of interest to talk with you about. Now let's switch over to currencies. As we look at the euro, it had been on a tear, moving up, slowing down this last week, and then busting through that, what had been a decent trend line this week, down for the day 0.38%. We can see 3 days, 1.5, 2-day candles of stroking down movement, crushing through the weekly trend line on both the weekly, the 2-day, and the half-day. What about the British pound? Slowing down itself too. You can particularly see it on the 2-day chart where things had been trying to move up and then starting at the end of last week, beginning of this week, really pulling back. We look at where things are with the Japanese yen, a little bright spot. After many, many, many weeks of down movement over the last 3 weeks, the yen slowly trying to pull its way up. So interesting things going on as we move into this holiday season. Lots of craziness going on in the world. War in Ukraine, who knows where that is going? Probably not good. And the Israelis continuing to battle Hamas in the Middle East. Again, all sorts of craziness setting a potential stage there. So lots of worries and concerns, and we're seeing that reflected in currencies. We're seeing it reflected, aren't we, in things like cryptocurrencies really moving up. And of course, lackluster performance in commodities with fear and potential war not only on the horizon, but happening. That is where we are, folks. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.